Hey everybody, thanks for sticking around. Patrick Sheridan here with Jeff Mulvihill and hosting you for the United States Army All American Marching Band pre-show coming up tomorrow on the All American Bowl. At the halftime, this incredible marching band, and we're joined by Bob Buckner. Bob, welcome.
Thank you.
Good to have you here. We got his mic on. Is it cool? Yeah, awesome. So Bob is, I don't really like using the word retired, but and I don't like using the word former, but he used to work at Western Carolina University, the director of athletic bands there, was director of the Pride of the Mountains marching band, and you were for the first 2 years, the lead director of this organization, correct?
Yes.
And have written the drill every year that this has been around, and this is year...
This is year 9. Next year will be a 10th anniversary.
That's right. Incredible. So thanks for being here and spending some time talking to us.
Glad to do it.
So, I have a lot of questions I would like to ask about a lot of things, but as it relates to this event, what's it like to have seen it, form and then grow? Like, talk about that.
It's really one of the most exciting projects I've ever been a part of, and it's, I think as you get older, as I have, you see the longevity of things. You see the existing value, but you also see the potential. And I remember very, very well the first year, all of the growing pains, all of the, just trying to get band directors to understand that this wasn't some sort of a fundraiser to even get students to audition. I had never met Brian Prado, who's been a key part of this organization for the entire time, and I'm sure he didn't like me very much when we got started because he couldn't read my mind, and I didn't understand that. But we have had a great relationship over the years, and each year what you see is not only has there been a step up in talent, as the band directors in this country have realized that this is really something that's provided for these students as an honor. And I think in the recognition they receive, the support that the Army has given, the first year I remember being a little bit frustrated. We didn't have very much rehearsal time. We did the first show, I think it was 14 and a half hours, really over a period of mainly over 2 days. And we had written 44 sets, a very hard musical book. As a matter of fact, when the Army Field Band played it, the woodwind players turned around and said, "Those kids will never play this." Not only did they play it, they blazed through it. I think it was a learning experience for everyone. And I think what's happened is we've sort of finally found our stride with regard to what the Army can bring to this. These great musicians in the field band, and to see them interact with these students and to see the mentoring that goes on, the great staff that of college and high school directors who come in and do this. It's just been amazing to see what's occurred in 10 years.
That's incredible. Talk about the difference between when you get a chance to have this, like, a full season with students, and then year over year, and this is 4 days, bam, what you have to put in and what you have to leave out that you normally would get a chance to do.
Well, I think I think in terms of a lot of it has to do with the preparation. That's why the audition process is pretty thorough. Mm-hmm. And a big part of it has been movement, how well the kids move. Mm-hmm. Because if they can't move, it doesn't matter how well they play, because they're not going to contribute musically if they've got, physical limitations. And so that's a really big part of it. With that being said, just about every great marching band, drum corps, and a lot of these kids have done drum corps and band, what you find is everybody has a little bit of difference in the way they teach fundamental marching. So what we try to do, and I think I heard Ken Bodiford say that earlier this week, was to get here and try to come up with an average set of fundamentals, not the end all, and to try to get them so that they all look uniform. The best part about this is these are the best and the brightest. These kids are incredibly smart. They're incredibly motivated because they're the people that want to learn. and haven't even addressed their musicianship. I mean, they're just such fabulous musicians. I would say the vast majority are all-state players, certainly all district players. Now we're getting, I know when we started we had a problem because the winter drumline instructors didn't want their students to come here because it conflicted with their rehearsals. Well, now you're getting these great percussionists that are coming in because they realize, geez, the center snare from the All American Band was center snare for Blue Devils. Maybe this is a good thing. So, and same thing with color guard. I think you've seen, the first year was at All Texas, an All Texas color guard, which was really good. But now you've got, I could not believe the skill level that I saw on the field in rehearsal yesterday. As far as a drill writer, I approached it the very first year like I would a college band, and thank goodness I had been a college band director, because usually you go in, you do band camp, and maybe 2 or 3 days after band camp, you've got your first football game. So you have to understand how much you can accomplish in a short period of time. So I wrote the show, the very first show, with that in mind. I think each show has brought its own uniqueness. We've changed the instrumentation just a little bit. We started out with a lot of emphasis on electronics. The guys doing it this year, I don't think there are any electronics. So, it varies based on the staff, but it also gives us an opportunity to express ourselves in a different way. I think the common theme has been, at least for me, is let's entertain the soldiers in the seats who literally will be risking their lives for us. And I think that's the most important ingredient for it. So, yes, it's patriotic, and why shouldn't it be?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have a question for Ken. You've been a public school educator and a university band director. And tell me about, we've talked a little bit about drill and music and hard work that these students bring to the table. Talk to me about the other part of it. What do you see that as an observer of the relationships cultivated, or what's special to these students about this event?
I think the common bond they have is they're all high achievers. And the big frustration in most high school bands, even the great high school bands, is every year you have freshmen, you have first-year marchers. So they come on the scene, and the seniors tend to be very impatient because those kids just don't get it yet. So the big test is leadership. Can they set an example patiently for those young people to be able to be successful? And what happens here is there are no first-year marchers. These kids are all highly skilled, they're very bright, and they're very motivated, and they look around them and they don't see anybody in the band maybe that they know, but they also know that they don't want to let anyone in that band down. That these are people that they can count on and that need to count on them. And I think that motivates them more than anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, one of the first years over here, I remember Earl Hurley talking about this is what it's like when everybody in the band wants to do. You take that one kid from the band that's like that brightest star, and then you put a whole band of them together.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what you can do in just a few days. And then for it to have this impactful experience for some folks like we're going to talk to Sarah in a bit, who's an alumnus of the organization, who's now a member of the United States Army. That's got to be a thrilling thing to be a part of.
Oh, it is. And the other part is the Army is reaping benefits from this. I think I mentioned earlier the learning curve that we had with the field band. But now you see, I think there are at least 27, I heard, former members of the All American Band who are now in the United States Army. They've taken advantage of scholarship programs. But I can tell you, these people are highly motivated. They're going to do the same kind of work for the United States Army that they did for this band.
Absolutely.
They have gotten the cream of the crop. They've gotten great people.
Well, I think it's just continues to be this great showcase, and I'm glad that we're having so much ability to get the word out about that the original, as I remember Earl talking about it, her vision was like, there's this supreme honor to be an All-American athlete. and that we needed something like that for musicians, and that's what this is. And that's the message that I want. That when I meet band directors and talk about this all the time, I'm like, man, you have to get involved with this and nominate your students because the experience is really incredible.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you're seeing now is it's been accepted throughout the country. Everybody realizes that it's not another band trip or something like that. And then one of the things you see is a lot of the students go back to their high school band and they tell their friends about it. And for the most part, these students come from really great high school bands. I mean, that's one of the issues we have every year is trying to select a broad number of people. But what happens is they get selected from the great high school bands, and that's why they're All-Americans. They've been taught well. They're in a program maybe where there are a lot of resources and things like that. It was interesting to me because Earl talked to me about this vision about 8 years before it happened. And if you've been around Earl, you understand that he's a very persistent human being, and he really would talk about it and say, we're going to make this happen. We're going to make this happen. And what an honor to be part of a dream like that. I mean, this is something that's going to go on long after I'm gone, long after Earl Hurry's gone. This is going to be here for a long time, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. It's always fun to meet the members of it. We get a chance because we do these broadcasts in the fall, and so some of the students the ones that are coming, have been selected, and some of them have had the assembly at their school already, and so we get a chance to talk to them at these webcasts, and they're always. If you saw them walking down, you knew about the program, but you saw them walking down the airport, you'd pick them out. They have that.
You're right.
That look in their eye and that the way they carry themselves. So it's a real pleasure to be a part of that. Well, tell me, so you've had this august career, and now you get to do these like Sam Palafian, tuba player in the Boston Brass, and he's had careers at several institutions, and so he's like, I'm in that phase of my career where I get all the old man awards and I get to do all this old man stuff.
I understand.
But I know that so you're keeping yourself involved in this way. But what do what is Bob Buckner doing when we're not talking about music? You still golfing? You golf?
Play a lot of golf. Yeah. Not enough. Apparently, based on my handicap. But it's true. I think I tell my wife all the time. She does not like to hear me say this. That sometimes you get awards because there's nobody left living. That's the oldest. But one of the things that I've realized is that it's been fun to have a little extra time and to create my own schedule. I just got back last week. I'm going to be doing the Bands of America Honor Band for the next Rose Parade. So we spent a week there. And then to come right to this is just like, it's just more. Yeah, it's just, and so I've had the opportunity to do things like that and guest conducting, things of that nature. But I'm still really active as a drill writer. We have 6 grandchildren, and so 4 of them are currently active in band, and I keep thinking of camps and things I want to send them to and stuff like that. One of the grandchildren's a pretty good quarterback, and he's actually going to go to the combine, one of their camps next summer. So that kind of motivates me to write a little bit more so that I can make enough money to send them to these things that I've seen other great kids take advantage of, and it's fun for me to go, hey, I want my grandkids to see that too. All of our children were musicians, and even at Christmas we had our grandchildren. We had 5 of them. We had a little brass ensemble. It was not too good, but it was a lot of fun. But that's sort of what I'm doing to stay busy. But I still like the activity. I love marching band. I'm a little frustrated by it sometimes, like as that creativity sort of changes around, but in the direction things go sometimes. But by and large, it is one of the most wonderful things a student can do. It teaches them so many things. Most people don't realize how much music it teaches them.
Yeah.
Because if you can play together spread out 80 or 90 yards, you can certainly play together sitting in the band room. Mm-hmm. It just trains you to do that. But then you get all those other things, the leadership, the teamwork, just the value of getting up and staying at a task, the individual discipline. I'll tell you one quick story. One of the sponsors for this event is Poware. They're the leading design, show design software. Mm-hmm. And Pi told me one time that he doesn't hire programmers. He hires musicians because he said, I can teach them the program because they will have the discipline they need to be programmers. And that's just one, that's just one example. So.
Well, after I left the Marine Band in Washington, D.C., I did my master's degree in business at University of Michigan, and I found myself right away, it's a team-based, so every project you're on a team of 5, 6, 8 people, and I was always on the team with, I noticed with investment bankers right away. And I said, which if you know anything about investment banking, you're first basically like 3 years of investment banking. You don't even need an apartment. You just sleep under your desk and order Chinese food from downstairs, and you just work 24 hours a day. It's all you do. So I finally asked, like the third group I was on, I said, why do you keep choosing me? And they're like, well, you're a musician. And I'm like, what does that mean? They're like, well, you'll totally show up. You're hitting for 100%. You don't go to sleep in the middle of the night. You're not going to let us down. And
exactly right.
And I found that then working in the admissions area at the university, that was one of the things as a professional school that they were looking for. They were looking for people that had done an undergrad or for sure had professional experience in music, because of the things that being in an ensemble, the citizenship that it teaches you.
Absolutely.
I think the thing that would be interesting to somehow track via, which is easy to do now with social media, is sort of where these alumni go, and what sort of circle they come back around in, and who comes back to see us, but what they end up doing going forward, and what types of things in terms of their experiences here propel them moving forward.
That'll be a great study, and the thing is you have a number of alumni here this weekend, but you also will have many more tuning in to try to get a glimpse of the band on NBC, and that's so important to people. I would like to say one thing about what you said about being in a band. When I do a clinic, one of my standard things is to tell people something that I deeply believe. I believe if everyone in the world were in a band, the world would be a much better place. And the reason I say that is you learn that for the entire group to be successful, there are times when you have to make yourself less important. And it seems like in our world today, everyone wants to be in charge. Everyone wants the things that are made for them, but they don't want to get out of each other's way to let others succeed. And I think we have to have that. And I believe that band and music, choir, orchestra, all those things teach that. And there are very few places, you don't learn that in English class. I'm sorry. I had great English teachers, but they would tell you the same thing. That's why what we do is so important.
For sure.